Hey, what's up guys? John here. Things are starting to get so bad that even the Fed is now cutting jobs. They're cutting 300 jobs by the end of the year. And this is the first time that they've done this since the great financial crisis. Now, the Fed is also coming out almost every single day saying that a soft landing is incoming. Yet, they're starting to do things to kind of batten down the hatches like they did during the great financial crisis. Well, we're seeing a lot of other companies and organizations doing the same thing. And they're doing this for one very big reason, I believe. It's because they know things are about to get very, very hard. Things are about to get very, very real. And Americans have no idea what is in store. Well, I'm going to break it down for you clearly in this video so you can see exactly what is going on to position yourself and your family for what I believe is going to be, without doubt, the greatest wealth transfer of all time. Far bigger than 2008, far bigger than the dot-com bubble, I believe bigger than 1929. Far bigger than anything that we've ever experienced in human history is what we're walking into. And I'm going to break it down for you clearly in this video. Please hit the like button. YouTube will share this content to educate the people about what's really going on. And if you want to fix your credit to position yourself for the greatest wealth transfer of all time, we would love to help you. At my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item on your credit report, do not let it sit there. Do not let it sit there. One negative item can sit in your report for upwards of 7 years, preventing you from being able to get loans and financing and investing in real estate. It will prevent you from doing many things, just having one item on your report. So position yourself in the strongest way possible by having great credit, and you can do that by going to GreatCreditFast.com. Book a free strategy session by clicking the link below in this video. Take a look at this. So bankruptcy filings have recently reached levels on par with the 2008 Great Recession. This indicator often suggests the economy isn't performing well and has historically always been followed by a massive stock market crash. Well, look at 2008, right here, 2023. I mean, you're starting to look at all of these indicators, and then you're starting to look at what's happening right now with jobs, right? You're starting to see these layoffs starting to occur. You're seeing, 2022, you saw mainly tech jobs, tech layoffs, as financing started to get more expensive and a lot of these projects started to kind of go under. They started getting a little bit more defensive. Well, now it's not just tech that is getting impacted. You're looking at John Deere, you're looking at General Motors, you're looking at a variety of different companies, organizations, and job sectors that are all getting impacted. Now, look at what's happened with tech in 2023 so far. You have 236,495 jobs have been laid off. Last year, it was 164,000. So you're up about 40% so far in 2023 for all of 2022. I believe by the end of this year, we very well could see this number approach 375 to 400,000 total tech jobs gone. But I look at things not as just jobs, not as just interest rates, not as just the housing market. I'm looking at things from a worldwide stage and seeing and asking myself, are things going to get harder or are things going to get easier? Are we going to have some type of recovery, some type of modest soft landing? But then I see things like this with Justin Trudeau, and it makes me realize, no, we're probably going to have a black swan event. We're probably going to have some type of really big curveball on this economy, and I don't think people are ready for it. I mean, look at the way in which he communicates this message.
Because the cost on Canadians, on our lives, on our world will be so much greater if Putin wins this war that we will and have to stand every single day until Ukraine wins this war.
And that's frightening, right? That's frightening. 2 million views, another person posted 1 million views. People realize that what's happening overseas is going to have a monumental impact on the economy. And that's why I look at things and I say, this is going to be bigger than the 2008 great financial crisis, because 2008 was primarily based on a lot of bad home loans, bad policies. But what we're looking at right now is we're looking at 4, 5, 6 significant variables, all of which alone could be a greater threat than the great financial crisis, but they're all happening at the same time. You have this Ukraine situation. You have interest rates essentially going from 0% to where they are now, 5.25%, 5.5%, but mortgage rates going from 3% to 7.5%, 8%. You have this massive influx of corporate debt that has to get refinanced next year. $2 trillion in corporate debt has to get refinanced, which is going to instill a lot of layoffs. You have this tech revolution that is going to be unfolding inside the next couple of years. It's going to gradually, every single year, more and more jobs are going to be lost due to tech, AI, automation, generative AI. We're going to start seeing all these factors that are going to be, taken into consideration. Then you have inflation that likely is going to be a very, very big problem itself. Then you have this green energy transition, which is also going to be extremely expensive. This isn't my opinion. This is the data in which they are supplying. This is going to be extremely expensive, which is going to be funded primarily by printing money and taxes. So you have all these things that are happening at the same exact time, and then you have these curveballs that are happening here. But let me share with you something else, because this even cements that point even further. So right now they're saying that in Turkey, that interest rates hit 30%. Am I going to say interest rates here are going to hit 30%? No. But I do think interest rates are going to stay much higher for longer. I do think interest rates are going to, I wouldn't be surprised to see another rate hike or two or possibly three over the next 5 meetings or so. It would not surprise me at this point. But if that does in fact happen, you just imagine what's going to happen to commercial real estate. You have $1.5 trillion in commercial loans, has to get refinanced over the next 12 months. $2.7 trillion in commercial loans. That's 1 out of every 10 commercial properties in America has to get refinanced from now until 2027. So you have all of these things all happening at the same time. How is it possible that we have a soft landing with all of those different variables? It's not. We're walking into this massive rug pull, and it's going to get crazy. And this is one of the things that I think is going to be the main driver to this main driver. So look at this. They say food prices expected to rise through 2024. Well, look at this speech John Kerry gave, because this is frightening. Look at this.
Agriculture contributes about 33% of all the emissions of the world, depending a little bit on how you count it, but it's anywhere from 26 to 33. And we can't get to net zero. We don't get this job done unless agriculture is front and center as part of the solution. But with a growing population on the planet, we just crossed the threshold of 8 billion fellow citizens around the world. We just crossed that in this last year. Emissions from the food system alone are projected to cause another 0.5 degree of warming by mid-century on the current course that we are today. A 2-degree future could result in an additional 600 million people not getting enough to eat. And you just can't continue to both warm the planet while also expecting to feed it. Doesn't work. So we have to reduce emissions from the food system to keep the 1.5 degrees alive. Why do we have to keep 1.5 degrees alive? Because scientists, as a basis of physics and mathematics, not ideology and politics or party labels or anything else, as a matter of physics and mathematics and some biology and chemistry, have told us these are the consequences. And we already see it happening. And almost everything they've predicted for 30 plus years now is coming true, but the problem is it's coming true faster and bigger than was in fact predicted.
So you're starting to see this, right? Food prices are going to continue to rise. Energy prices are going to continue to rise. Insurance is going to continue to rise through energy prices. Fertilizer prices will continue to rise. All of this is going to get pushed onto the everyday consumer. At the same exact time, the labor market is going to be going through a massive change. Interest rates are going to remain elevated for longer, and many homeowners, the average homeowner lives in their property for 7 years. Now, many of these homeowners have 2, 3, 4% mortgages, and because of that, it's very challenging for them to refinance, especially if their job and their income starts to, change, right? So a lot of people are going to say, well, what can I do? Many people are going to start renting out their homes. They're going to start giving the keys back to the bank if things start to really ramp up in 2024, which it looks like it's going to. So when you start to see all of these big changes, how can you say a soft landing? How can anyone say a soft landing? Mainstream media, anyone, any economist say a soft landing is happening. They've said a soft landing in 1929. Believe it or not, they said soft landing. In the 1970s, soft landing. In the 1980s, there was a stock crash, soft landing. In the small real estate crash in the early 90s, they said soft landing. Said the same exact thing in the dot-com bubble in 2000. And they said the same exact thing in 2006, right before the great financial crisis. Soft landing, soft landing, soft landing. So when you look at all these things, there is no way that a soft landing is happening. In fact, what I think is going to happen is exactly what CNBC said. They said that institutional investors will take their market share of single-family homes owned from 5% to 40% by 2030. So in the next 6 years, they're going to increase their holdings of single-family homes by 800%. How? It's because there's going to be a lot of panic selling. There's going to be a lot of people that are forced to sell. And because of that, they're sitting on trillions and trillions of dollars. There's 5.3 trillion, or almost 5.4 trillion at this point, sitting in money market accounts waiting for opportunity. You have a variety of different institutional investors. You have Blackstone just raised a $30 billion, $400 million real estate fund. You have KKR that is looking at some really interesting projects right now. And then you have, BlackRock looking to acquire a lot of paper for residential and commercial mortgages from a lot of these regional banks. And then you also have Starwood Capital. They're looking to raise a massive distressed real estate fund to acquire distressed properties, all because this soft landing is not happening. In fact, it's going to be like a wrecking ball on the economy. And it's up to smart and savvy entrepreneurs, investors, new investors to look at the writing on the wall and position and prepare themselves for it, because the next 2 or 3 years will be the most important that you'll see in our lifetime to invest. And there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. If you're renting right now, you want to own property. You want to buy a really, really good deal. If you have a, credit card debt, expensive credit card debt, you want to look to potentially doing a 0% APR balance transfer, get out of that high interest rate credit card debt. Start being really strategic. The next couple of years are going to be extremely important. Make really smart decisions, protect and provide for yourself and your family by doing so. If you need help fixing your credit, maybe your credit score is holding you back, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, any negative item, one late payment can hold your score down for upwards of 180 points reduction and on your report for 7 years. Don't let that happen to you. Fix your credit, put yourself in a really, really strong position so you can go out there and invest when things hit the fan. I'll catch you guys in the next video.